Welcome to the deep dive, where we plunge into stacks of sources to extract the insights that truly matter. Today, we're exploring a topic that might just redefine how we think about global commerce and human ingenuity. For many of us, e-commerce giants like Amazon, Alibaba, they're just part of our daily rhythm. They've woven themselves into the very fabric of how we shop, sell, connect, promising delivery almost anywhere across continents. You type in an address, click a button, and often, well, within hours, your package arrives. But have you ever paused to consider the places these giants don't reach? The vast stretches of our world often deemed, too difficult, too remote, or even too fragile for their sophisticated logistical networks. I'm talking about the poorest regions, communities caught in cycles of instability, or those simply lacking even the most basic physical and digital infrastructure. Our conventional thinking often labels these as economic dead zones, right? Areas where modern commercial ambition needs to be drastically scaled back. But here's the profound twist, and it's really the central idea from our source material today. These overlooked frontiers, the most economically disadvantaged and politically volatile regions, actually hold some of the greatest untapped potential for a truly transformative kind of commerce.
That's it, exactly. And what immediately captured my attention in these sources is how they just, well, they challenge that conventional wisdom, the idea that these areas are simply not viable for e-commerce. It's not about attempting to squeeze a square peg into a round hole, trying to miniaturize an existing Amazon or Alibaba model. Instead, it demands a radical rethinking. It's about fundamentally redefining what e-commerce is in these uniquely challenging contexts, building entirely from the ground up, really, to serve very specific needs and overcome extraordinary, sometimes life-threatening barriers. It's a powerful testament to human adaptability, I think, not just in the people navigating these environments, but in the innovators striving to connect them.
And connect them, they do. So today's deep dive is titled E-commerce for the Edge, Building Amazon Alibaba Alternatives for the World's Poorest and Most Fragile Regions. Our mission is to meticulously unpack the unique, often daunting challenges that exist in these overlooked parts of the world, and then to explore the groundbreaking, community-centric solutions proposed in our source material. This isn't just about business for business's sake. It's about survival. It's about restoring dignity and fostering economic inclusion for billions. We're going to uncover some surprising innovations that go far beyond just buying and selling. They're about forging trust, strengthening community bonds, and creating entirely new economic lifelines where, well, none existed before.
Indeed, the material we're diving into today, it profoundly challenges many of our fundamental assumptions about what constitutes infrastructure and global connectivity. It pushes us beyond the notion that you absolutely need paved roads, formal addressing systems, and, established banking networks to participate in the digital economy. What it reveals instead is how ingenious innovation can emerge directly from necessity, leveraging existing social structures and accessible technologies to create remarkably resilient and impactful commerce solutions exactly where they're needed most. It truly sets the stage for a future where economic opportunity isn't just limited by geography or lack of conventional infrastructure, but is instead catalyzed by, well, human-centered design.
Okay, so let's turn our attention to our first formidable hurdle. Imagine for a moment trying to send or receive a package in a place where there are simply no street names, no house numbers, and where populations frequently move due to economic pressures or, heartbreakingly, conflict. For many of us in the developed world, getting a package to our doorstep is an unquestioned certainty, right? We type in an address and the magic happens. But in countless communities across Africa, Asia, parts of Latin America, formal addressing systems are completely non-existent. People live in sprawling, informal settlements, or their homes simply aren't mapped in any official way. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a fundamental systemic barrier to participating in modern commerce. Without a verifiable location, how can you even engage in delivery-based trade?
Yeah, this foundational gap in infrastructure is truly impactful. It affects every single step of a conventional e-commerce model, and it extends far beyond just the final delivery. It touches upon issues of identity, of establishing a verifiable presence that can be formally recognized for any service or transaction. Without a fixed address, how do you reliably verify a customer's identity? How do you ensure accountability in a transaction or, say, manage returns? This absence of a basic spatial framework creates a pervasive ripple effect, making everything from initial customer registration to order fulfillment incredibly difficult for traditional e-commerce platforms. It really underscores the absolute necessity for a completely different approach, one that accounts for this fluid, unmapped reality and embraces solutions that are, well, as dynamic as the communities they serve.
It's a daunting problem, no doubt. But our source has unearthed some truly elegant solutions. The first one they talk about is the GPS-based PIN plus local phone relay model. It sounds complex, but it's remarkably simple and effective. Instead of trying to hit a precise house number that doesn't exist, the delivery is targeted to within a close proximity, maybe 200 meters, of the customer's GPS PIN location. Then, and this is crucial, a local delivery agent, someone already familiar with the area, makes a direct call or sends an SMS to the customer. They let them know their package is nearby for retrieval. Think about it. Most people in these regions have access to a mobile phone, right? Even if they don't have a formal address or reliable internet. This leverages existing widespread mobile penetration.
Yeah, exactly. This solution brilliantly transforms a ubiquitous personal device, the mobile phone, into a dynamic, flexible addressing system. It's quite clever. It dramatically reduces the logistical complexity and, importantly, eradicates the need for expensive, high-tech mapping infrastructure that often simply isn't available or feasible. The practicality is undeniable. Rather than a delivery driver attempting to navigate unmapped alleys or unnamed roads, they can simply navigate to a general GPS coordinate and then rely on direct, real-time human communication with the customer. This method respects the ground reality, meeting people exactly where they are, rather than forcing them into a rigid, unsuitable system. It's about leveraging agility and direct human connection to bridge a significant technological and infrastructural gap. You could literally imagine a delivery agent calling a farmer saying, "Hey, your packet of essential seeds is at the familiar banyan tree just 5 minutes from your field." It's incredibly human and adaptable.
That sounds incredibly clever for individual delivery, absolutely. But what about leveraging the existing social fabric, the places people already gather and trust? Our sources propose another powerful approach: community pickup points. This is really interesting. It turns existing local hubs into central delivery points. So instead of attempting individual door-to-door delivery, which, as we just discussed, is often impossible, e-commerce platforms can collaborate with trusted local shops, schools, or even religious institutions. These places become neighborhood pickup and drop-off hubs. They're places people already frequent, places that are easily identifiable, and crucially, places where a degree of community trust already exists.
Right. And this is where we see the power of integrating with existing social capital. These aren't just random points on a map. They're often focal points of community life, deeply imbued with trust and familiarity. If we kind of zoom out for a moment, this taps directly into that often invisible network of trust, shared norms, and reciprocal relationships that bind a community together. That enables collective action. A village elder shop, for instance, becoming the central point for weekly deliveries. Well, that doesn't just fulfill a logistical function. It reinforces community ties while providing a trusted, stable hub for goods. This model transforms a huge logistical challenge into an opportunity to strengthen local economies and enhance social cohesion. It's about building an e-commerce infrastructure that is truly embedded within the community, making trusted local entities active, valued participants in the commerce ecosystem, not just passive recipients.
That makes so much sense. And finally, to address this address conundrum, there's the concept of mobile kiosks. You can sort of picture this as a kind of digital Amazon on wheels, maybe? The core idea is to establish scheduled weekly delivery trucks. But they don't just drop off packages. They actually serve as rotating mobile storefronts, bringing a curated selection of essential goods directly to communities. These trucks might arrive on a designated market day or a specific day of the week, becoming a predictable and reliable service, almost like a traveling general store for the digital age.
Yet this solution compellingly highlights flexibility and exceptional reach. It literally brings the store to the customer, which is absolutely essential in areas entirely lacking fixed retail infrastructure or reliable private transportation. It profoundly sidesteps the notorious last-mile problem by effectively eliminating the last mile for the customer entirely. The mobile kiosk can integrate seamlessly with community schedules, existing market days becoming a natural and anticipated part of the local economic rhythm. And it's much more than just a delivery mechanism. It's a mobile marketplace. It can potentially take new orders for future delivery, process payments on the spot, maybe even offer product displays and basic customer service. This approach maximizes its impact and reach by moving through different villages, serving diverse needs, and truly connecting previously isolated communities to a broader economy.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's move to our second major challenge: financial exclusion. So, what does all this mean when the vast majority of people don't have bank accounts, credit histories, or even formal identification? In many developed nations, e-commerce thrives on the seamless integration of credit cards, bank transfers, sophisticated digital payment systems. We take it for granted, really. Alibaba, for example, successfully built Alipay to solve this very issue in China, effectively creating an entire parallel financial system. But in many poorer countries, for billions of people, it's often a complete financial void. No banks, no credit scores, no formal financial identity. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a systemic, deeply entrenched barrier to economic participation and, frankly, upward mobility.
Absolutely. And this situation compels us to ask a really critical question. How do you build trust and facilitate transactions without any formal financial rails? The sheer scale of financial exclusion in these regions is staggering, and traditional financial models are simply not equipped, nor were they really designed, to onboard these populations. They typically demand a history, a track record, a level of formal documentation and collateral that simply doesn't exist for billions of hardworking individuals. This reality forces innovators to think far beyond the established banking paradigms, and instead to create alternative mechanisms for value exchange that are inherently accessible, transparently trustworthy, and importantly, culturally appropriate for those who have been historically and systematically left out.
Yeah, left out of the global financial system. But our source material proposes some truly ingenious solutions here. First up is cash on delivery, COD, with mobile wallet rewards. This is all about starting with what people already know and inherently trust, cash. So you begin with cash on delivery, which is familiar, widely accepted, especially where digital payments might be new or viewed with, understandable suspicion. But then you strategically and gently nudge users toward adopting mobile wallets, much like the incredibly successful M-Pesa model pioneered in Kenya, right? You do this through tangible discounts and appealing digital incentives.
Exactly. This strategy embodies what we might call strategic gradualism. It's designed to build confidence in digital payments step by step. It couples a low-risk initial transaction, the SIAD, with an immediate tangible reward for trying something new, the mobile wallet. The M-Pesa success story, where it evolved into a dominant financial platform for millions without traditional bank accounts, is a perfect illustration of how mobile money can be a profound game changer. By making the initial transaction low risk and familiar with fiat, and then offering compelling incentives like maybe a small discount on their next order if they switch to mobile payment, these systems slowly but surely cultivate digital literacy and accelerate adoption. It acts as a carefully constructed bridge from the familiar to the future, making the transition to digital finance feel less like a daunting leap of faith and more like a smart, rewarding, and increasingly indispensable choice.
That nudge does create a powerful incentive, really. Imagine a customer getting a small discount on their next order if they switch from cash to mobile payment, or maybe unlocking access to certain goods only available via mobile payment. It's a gentle, effective way to build that digital literacy and trust over time. Okay, next we have reputation-based microcredit. This fundamentally rethinks how creditworthiness is established. It's not built through traditional banks and their often impossible requirements for collateral or formal history, but rather on behaviors within the e-commerce system itself. Things like consistently completing orders, actively referring new users to the platform, making on-time payments. All these actions contribute to a dynamic digital reputation score. And this score can then unlock vital microcredit opportunities for individuals or small businesses.
What's truly compelling here is the complete inversion of traditional finance. It's fascinating. Instead of relying on a pre-existing credit history that most of these populations simply don't have, this model actively creates one based on observable, verifiable actions and interactions within a controlled, transparent ecosystem. Community-level data, which is often dismissed or overlooked by large, impersonal financial institutions, can be powerfully leveraged here. It forges an entirely new form of trust, and it provides unprecedented access to capital for micro-entrepreneurs. This is particularly transformative because it allows individuals who are economically active but remain financially invisible to finally gain access to the resources they desperately need. Resources to grow their small businesses, invest in their livelihoods, or manage unexpected daily challenges. It effectively fosters economic agency from the ground up, allowing communities to build their own financial ladders.
Build their own ladders. I like that. And this next solution is truly remarkable. Barter-enabled e-commerce. This is where it really gets fascinating, enabling sophisticated peer-to-peer trading or direct barter. This becomes absolutely vital in desperate contexts like war zones and refugee areas, places where traditional currency might be unstable, incredibly scarce, or even completely non-existent. In such extreme environments, the fundamental human need for essential goods and services often vastly outweighs or entirely replaces the conventional need for currency.
Right. And looking at the larger canvas, this concept signifies what we might call resilience commerce. It's about designing systems that profoundly adapt to contexts where currency might be unstable, unreliable, or simply unavailable. This taps into ancient foundational forms of human exchange, but brings them powerfully into the digital age through a structured, trusted platform. Imagine a farmer with an excess of maize trading it for desperately needed medical supplies, or perhaps a reliable solar lantern, all facilitated digitally without any money changing hands. The e-commerce platform becomes the crucial trusted intermediary, meticulously matching needs with available goods and services. This kind of system not only facilitates essential transactions, but can also significantly strengthen community ties and local resourcefulness in dire circumstances. It turns scarcity into a powerful catalyst for innovative and life-sustaining exchange.
Okay, our next major challenge plunges us into the toughest environments imaginable: conflict zones, civil war situations. Now imagine a scenario where law and order have collapsed entirely, where postal systems are defunct, vital warehouses become prime targets for looting or destruction. Electricity is sporadic at best, and people are constantly on the move due to conflict, displacement, or just the pervasive, gut-wrenching uncertainty of war. In these conditions, traditional supply chains, fixed infrastructure, they're simply non-starters. They just can't function.
This stark reality dramatically underscores the extreme fragility of such environments and the absolute necessity for incredibly adaptable, profoundly decentralized solutions. It confronts us with a critical question. How do you design systems for inherent instability rather than just for efficiency? Because in these contexts, traditional commercial logic completely breaks down. The overriding priority shifts from mere profit maximization to the fundamental imperative of ensuring essential goods. Food, medicine, shelter reach people who need them most, often under unimaginably life-threatening conditions. Any viable solution must be exceptionally nimble, secure, and capable of operating with minimal external infrastructure, always prioritizing human safety and access above all else.
It's a huge ask. But the sources offer some truly ingenious approaches for these high-risk scenarios. First, decentralized pop-up fulfillment centers. This innovative idea involves using mobile containers or even robust trucks as mini warehouses. And the key thing is, they possess the crucial ability to rapidly shift their location based on changing danger zones, fluctuating front lines, or evolving humanitarian needs. They're not static targets. They are agile, temporary hubs designed for maximum mobility and security.
Exactly. This solution exemplifies operational resilience, baked right into the very design of the logistical network. It dramatically minimizes the risk of fixed assets becoming tempting targets for conflict or opportunism, and it ensures a continuous, albeit flexible, supply chain for essential goods. Consider a conflict erupting or intensifying in one area. The mobile container can simply move to a safer, more accessible location, ensuring that goods can still flow to affected populations. This agility is absolutely paramount. It allows essential supplies to adapt to unpredictable shifts in security dynamics, road access, population movements. It brilliantly transforms a vulnerability into a core strength, creating an e-commerce model that's literally on the move and fundamentally designed to evade disruption, ensuring critical access when it matters most.
Wow. Next, a solution that sounds almost like science fiction, but it's actually being deployed in some capacities: drone drops. What truly captures the imagination here is the potential to partner with local NGOs and cutting-edge drone technology firms, delivering essential supplies to isolated populations where roads are unsafe, completely destroyed, or simply impassable due to active conflict or natural disaster. This bypasses so many of the traditional ground-based risks.
Drones, in these extreme scenarios, can play a critical, often life-saving role when traditional ground routes are utterly compromised. Absolutely. They possess the unique ability to bypass destroyed bridges, evade dangerous checkpoints, and deliver vital medicine, food, or other emergency supplies to cut off villages or besieged communities. But while incredibly promising, it also necessitates meticulous coordination with local groups and humanitarian aid organizations. You have to ensure deliveries are precisely targeted, safe, and crucially, that they don't inadvertently create new risks or draw unwanted attention to recipients. The technology is undeniably powerful, but the human coordination, the ethical frameworks, the clear communication, those are just as important for successful, responsible deployment in these extraordinarily sensitive environments.
That's a really important point. And finally, for operating in conflict zones, we have anonymous and encrypted orders. This focuses heavily on using robust end-to-end encryption and ordering systems that require no formal identification. Why is this so critical? Because in zones of active conflict or under repressive regimes, merely being associated with certain services or even the simple act of receiving goods from an external source could be politically dangerous, even life-threatening for individuals or entire communities. Here, privacy isn't just a preference, it's an absolute matter of survival and security.
Exactly. This approach strongly emphasizes the crucial aspect of privacy and security for both buyers and sellers operating within these high-risk environments. Zooming out, the broader implication is about protecting vulnerable individuals while simultaneously enabling vital economic and humanitarian activity to continue. These systems are specifically designed to minimize digital footprints, obscure personal identities, and rigorously safeguard transactions from surveillance by hostile forces or malicious actors. It's about creating a digital safe space where people can access necessities without fear of reprisal, ensuring that commerce can continue to function as a basic human right, even in scenarios where conventional state protections have completely vanished, or worse, become a source of threat.
Okay, now let's pivot to something that could be a game changer across all these challenges: ubiquitous internet connectivity. So what does this all mean for digital access in these far-flung regions? Our source points to the profound Starlink revolution, unlocking high-speed internet in places where physical terrestrial infrastructure is utterly non-existent. For the longest time, a lack of reliable, affordable internet was an absolute death knell for any serious e-commerce ambitions in remote areas. You truly can't have robust digital commerce without being connected, can you?
Precisely. Starlink and other emerging satellite internet services, they truly represent a gateway to the next unprecedented leap in global connectivity. They definitely bypass the enormous logistical and financial hurdles of laying fiber optic cables or constructing cell towers across remote, difficult, or conflict-ridden terrains. What's truly compelling here is how a single technological leap, like ubiquitous satellite internet, can suddenly create entirely new and unforeseen possibilities. For commerce, yes, but also for education, for health services, for governance. In areas previously thought to be digitally unreachable, it fundamentally democratizes access in a way that ground-based infrastructure, with all its inherent limitations, never could have achieved. It instantly brings the digital world to the edge.
And with this newfound connectivity comes a host of incredibly innovative solutions. First, we have Starlink-powered rural digital malls. This concept involves creating shared internet hubs powered by Starlink terminals where entire villages can gather, not just to browse products, but to collaboratively place orders, access information, and even run their own nascent micro-businesses. Think of it as a communal internet cafe, but specifically re-engineered for commerce and local empowerment.
Yet this solution profoundly highlights the communal aspect. It actively fosters digital literacy and entrepreneurship within a shared, accessible space. It's about democratizing access, not just for shopping, but for broader economic participation and the free flow of information. These digital malls effectively become vital community centers, offering a secure and reliable connection for multiple users simultaneously, allowing them to collectively explore the digital marketplace, learn new skills, interact with the wider world. It significantly reduces the individual cost of connectivity, transforms remote villages into connected hubs of activity, and creates a collaborative environment for learning, engaging with e-commerce, and fostering a shared sense of digital empowerment.
Building on that mobile concept, there's also the idea of internet-connected tuk-tuks or motorcycles. This solution takes the concept of the digital traveling salesman to a whole new level of accessibility and reach. Imagine equipping these common agile modes of transport, often already used for informal delivery, with Starlink receivers and robust tablets. These mobile vendors can then travel door to door, village to village, taking orders, processing payments, acting as crucial mobile points of contact for e-commerce, bringing the digital marketplace directly to people's doorsteps, even in the most isolated hamlets.
This brilliantly expands the reach of e-commerce, quite literally bringing it to the doorsteps of the most remote areas. It's fantastic. It cleverly integrates cutting-edge satellite technology with existing informal distribution networks that are already deeply familiar and trusted by local populations. A Starlink-powered tuk-tuk isn't just a delivery vehicle, it's a mobile portal to the global marketplace, allowing individuals in far-flung villages to access goods and services that would otherwise be completely out of reach. It's a dynamic, incredibly adaptable model that expertly marries high-tech connectivity with local practicalities, effectively bridging that critical last-mile gap in a truly innovative and culturally appropriate way, fostering unprecedented economic inclusion.
Right. Okay, let's move to our fifth challenge: establishing trust and recourse. Now imagine a scenario where something inevitably goes wrong. damaged goods, outright fraud, maybe even theft. And there is simply no formal legal infrastructure, no consumer protection laws, no reliable police force, no impartial judiciary to turn to. In developed countries, we often take for granted the intricate legal frameworks that underpin commerce, providing clear pathways for recourse when disputes arise. But in these fragile regions, that safety net is often completely absent, leaving individuals really vulnerable.
Yet, this situation powerfully highlights the profound void created by weak governance and the pressing need for entirely alternative mechanisms to establish trust and accountability. It compels us to confront a critical question. How do you build a trustworthy, functioning system of commerce when the state either cannot or will not provide it? Without legal recourse, every single transaction inherently carries a much higher degree of risk for both buyer and seller. So innovators in these spaces must devise creative, community-led, or maybe cutting-edge tech-enabled solutions that actively build confidence and provide clear pathways for dispute resolution, ensuring fairness and encouraging participation in the complete absence of formal state structures.
Okay, so what are those alternatives? Our source provides some truly fascinating answers. First, reputation and social credit systems. This is all about leveraging hyperlocal networks to rigorously rate sellers, buyers, and delivery agents. So instead of relying on a distant government or a faceless corporation to vouch for someone's trustworthiness, trust is built organically from within communities. Based on shared experiences, local knowledge, established social relationships, it's almost like a return to ancient principles, but with a digital twist.
Exactly. What's truly compelling here is the immense power of community governance in action. It's a sophisticated digital adaptation of traditional market principles, really. Yeah. Where a vendor's reputation in their village or town was historically their most valuable asset, right? Meticulously guarded and widely known. In this digital context, social ties and deep local knowledge become the bedrock for accountability. A positive rating from a neighbor, a consistent history of good transactions, even endorsements from respected community leaders, they collectively build a robust social credit score. This bottom-up approach creates a self-regulating system where trust is earned and meticulously maintained through transparent community feedback, providing a powerful intrinsic incentive for honest dealings and fostering a collective sense of responsibility for the marketplace's integrity.
That makes sense. Then we have a wonderfully tech-forward solution, smart contract escrows. This involves utilizing secure, blockchain-based escrow systems where money is only released when specific delivery conditions are verifiably confirmed. This could be via GPS coordinates, maybe a time-stamped photo of the delivered goods, or even a recorded verbal confirmation exchange between parties. It's leveraging cutting-edge, immutable technology to build trust and ensure accountability where traditional human institutions are lacking or absent.
Right. And if we zoom out for a moment, this concept profoundly showcases how technology can be used to create transparent, self-executing agreements. The inherent immutability of blockchain provides an incorruptible ledger of all transactions. And smart contracts automate the precise release of funds only upon the undisputed satisfaction of predefined conditions. This entirely removes the need for a traditional trusted third-party institution, like a bank or a court, because the trust is literally embedded in the code itself, verifiable by anyone. It offers an unprecedented level of security and certainty for both buyers and sellers, significantly mitigating the risks of fraud in environments where formal legal recourse is either absent or unreliable. It effectively creates a digital equivalent of an impartial, incorruptible arbiter.
Okay, moving on to our sixth crucial challenge, embracing the informal economy. So what does this all mean for the vast majority of people in these countries who work informally, hustling day to day, often in unregistered trades just to make a living? How do you effectively integrate them into a modern e-commerce system that typically demands formal registration, tax IDs, official business licenses?
Yeah.
In many regions across the globe, the informal economy isn't just a fringe activity, it is the economy, a vibrant, resilient network of entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And this issue forces us to ask a profound question. How do you design systems that genuinely complement rather than disrupt existing livelihoods? The informal economy isn't a flaw. It's a highly flexible, incredibly entrepreneurial, and deeply human feature of these societies. It's driven by immediate needs, personal networks, and an impressive capacity for adaptation. Any truly successful e-commerce model for these regions must inherently recognize and integrate this dynamism, providing accessible tools and powerful opportunities that allow informal workers to leverage their existing skills and personal networks, rather than forcing them into rigid, often unsuitable formal structures. It's about empowering their existing hustle with new, accessible digital capabilities, expanding their reach and potential without erasing their foundational way of life.
Empowering the hustle, I like that. The source material offers two incredibly clever solutions for this integration. First, gig e-commerce. This describes enabling ordinary people to become micro resellers. Essentially, it transforms every smartphone user with a common messaging app like WhatsApp into a dynamic storefront. You don't necessarily buy from a central warehouse. You might buy from a friend, a neighbor, a trusted local contact. This fosters a truly peer-to-peer commerce model at a profoundly hyperlocal level. It decentralizes the entire sales process.
Right. And what's truly compelling here is how it leverages ubiquitous mobile technology to directly empower individual entrepreneurs. The barrier to entry is exceptionally low. If you possess a smartphone and have an established network of contacts, you can immediately become a vibrant part of the e-commerce ecosystem. It completely decentralizes sales, effectively turning every individual into a potential node in a distributed commerce network. Imagine a person selling beautiful handmade crafts, or maybe a small, carefully curated stock of essential household goods through a dedicated WhatsApp group to their local network, receiving payments via a mobile wallet. This model not only creates immediate income opportunities, but also profoundly builds a sense of community ownership over the marketplace, making commerce deeply personal, highly accessible, and intrinsically tied to existing social relationships.
And second, complementing that, we have hyper-localized inventories. This strategy focuses on actively partnering with those same local micro-entrepreneurs to stock and fulfill items. Anything from basic necessities like soap and cooking oil to locally crafted sandals and tools directly within their own neighborhoods. So instead of relying on a massive centralized warehouse located hundreds of miles away, you have a distributed network of small, agile stock points, each managed by a local trusted individual.
Yes, this approach beautifully illustrates the inherent efficiency of ultra-local supply chains. By empowering local businesses to hold and fulfill inventory, it drastically reduces transport costs and significantly cuts down on delivery times, often monumental challenges in these regions. Moreover, it ensures that the products offered are not just available, but are also highly relevant and attuned to local needs and preferences, because the inventory is carefully curated by those who know the community best. This model not only makes e-commerce more efficient and responsive, but also empowers and strengthens local businesses, transforming them into vital, active components of the broader commerce ecosystem and fostering a truly community-driven economy that builds local wealth and self-reliance.
Okay, finally, we arrive at the expansive, visionary future our source material paints. From survival to sovereignty, this is where it really gets thought-provoking. The source outlines a future vision that goes far beyond simply adapting existing commercial models. It introduces the powerful concept of e-commerce as human infrastructure. This isn't just about attempting to copy Amazon's playbook for challenging regions. It's about fundamentally rethinking what e-commerce can achieve when it is meticulously designed with human needs, local empowerment, and intrinsic resilience at its absolute core.
Exactly. This isn't just about exporting Amazon or trying to retrofit a Western model onto diverse, complex, and often vulnerable environments. Not at all. It's about empowering local systems that leapfrog ahead, building entirely new paradigms of commerce that are inherently resilient, profoundly inclusive, and democratically driven by community ownership. It sees e-commerce not merely as a transactional platform, but as a foundational element for broader social and economic development, a powerful tool for achieving a kind of economic sovereignty that bypasses the limitations and often extractive nature of traditional global economic systems. It truly repositions commerce as a vital human-centered service.
So what does that look like? The first key vision within this framework is mesh commerce networks. This describes a highly distributed system where every local player, the drivers, the sellers, the customers, are all active stakeholders in a co-op style network. It's not a top-down, centralized, corporate-controlled model, but a truly horizontal, collaborative, and democratically owned system that shares profits and responsibilities.
Right. And we zoom out and connect this to the bigger picture. It signifies a profound paradigm shift in economic organization. It really does. This model strongly emphasizes shared ownership and democratic participation, ensuring that the benefits generated by commerce circulate directly within the community rather than being siphoned off by external corporations or distant shareholders. By making everyone a direct stakeholder, it cultivates a much deeper sense of responsibility, fosters greater trust, and encourages collective investment in the long-term success of the network. It moves significantly beyond pure profit motives to actively prioritize community well-being, building truly localized and inherently resilient economies that are, by their very design, more stable, more equitable, and deeply responsive to local needs.
That sounds incredibly powerful. Next, the vision of resilience commerce. This refers to designing e-commerce systems that are fundamentally offline tolerant, acutely conflict aware, and robustly built for rapid bounce back in the face of disasters, wars, or other profound shocks. These aren't just desirable features, they are core architectural principles meticulously baked into the system from day one, ensuring continuity no matter the circumstances.
Yeah. Exactly. This principle directly addresses the absolute necessity of designing for extreme, unpredictable environments. It's critical. It means consciously building systems that can continue to operate effectively even when internet connectivity is intermittent or completely absent, when power grids are down, or when critical transportation routes are severed. This entails developing offline-tolerant applications, incorporating redundant communication channels, implementing incredibly agile fulfillment strategies, things like that. The overarching goal is to ensure continuity and unwavering reliability when traditional systems inevitably fail, transforming e-commerce into a critical, dependable lifeline that can literally help communities survive and swiftly recover from crises, guaranteeing essential access to goods and services no matter how dire the circumstances become.
A lifeline, exactly. And finally, a truly forward-thinking idea that bridges the gap between local needs and digital innovation. Crypto incentives. This involves rewarding participation and fostering loyalty within the e-commerce ecosystem by using strategically designed, regionally pegged tokens. These tokens could be seamlessly usable for purchases within the specific system or even tradable online, thereby creating a new form of localized digital currency, one that fosters deep loyalty, incentivizes active engagement, and builds localized economic stability.
Yet this vision powerfully highlights the immense potential for profound financial inclusion and the dynamic creation of localized, incentivized economies. By utilizing regionally pegged crypto tokens, which are essentially digital currencies whose value is carefully tied to the specific economic realities of a region, perhaps even to local commodities or a basket of essential goods, these systems can empower communities with a stable, reliable digital medium of exchange. This potentially protects users from the volatility of global currency fluctuations and provides a currency that genuinely reflects their local economic context. It fosters loyalty by directly rewarding user behavior and contributions, creating a virtuous cycle where active participation in the commerce network directly translates into tangible economic benefits for individuals. It's about building a sense of shared prosperity and creating microeconomies that are both robust, self-sustaining, and deeply integrated, leveraging the power of blockchain for unprecedented local empowerment.
Wow, what a journey we've taken today. We've covered so much ground, diving deep into the extraordinary challenges and truly groundbreaking solutions for e-commerce at the edge. We've seen how incredible innovators are overcoming seemingly impossible logistical hurdles like the absence of formal addresses, how they're deftly navigating the complexities of widespread financial exclusion, and even courageously building commerce systems that can function and thrive in the midst of active conflict zones. It's really quite something. We've also explored how revolutionary technologies like Starlink are unlocking unprecedented connectivity and how rethinking fundamental concepts like trust and purposefully integrating the informal economy can lead to the creation of entirely new financial and social trust systems. It's clear that e-commerce, when reimagined from the ground up, can be so much more than just a convenient way to shop. It can be a vital force for human well-being.
Indeed. The core insight, I think the key takeaway from all our sources, is that true innovation demands daring to face ground realities head-on and meticulously building solutions tailored to the specific, often urgent human needs of these regions. The idea of e-commerce as human infrastructure is profoundly important. It's not about imposing an outside model or simply exporting existing frameworks. It's about empowering local systems that leapfrog ahead, providing a lifeline, a powerful job engine, a source of vital trust, and ultimately a clear path to dignity and broad economic inclusion in the toughest, most challenging environments on Earth. It's a testament to the idea that the markets of tomorrow won't just be won by the best algorithms, perhaps, but by those who genuinely serve humanity's hardest-to-reach dreams.
So, what does this all mean for you listening? As we consider these radical ideas, e-commerce models built entirely from scratch, meticulously designed for the most challenging human contexts, intensely focused on resilience, community ownership, basic survival, here's something to mull over. If e-commerce, which we often view as purely commercial, can be rebuilt from the ground up to act as fundamental human infrastructure, fostering dignity and economic inclusion in the most fragile places. What other systems in our developed world might truly benefit from such a fundamental, human centered reimagination? Think about how our own established systems, be it healthcare, education, even local governance, might be made profoundly more resilient, more inclusive, and more community driven if we were to rethink them with the same ground up innovation and an unwavering focus on human needs that we've discussed today. Something to ponder as you navigate your own digitally connected world and perhaps look for those overlooked frontiers closer to home.